Good evening, Packers fans. Those of you on the Bud Light live stream, we are going to be live here on the air coming up in about 2.5 minutes. What a night, eh? What a night. Keep coming on. For those of you coming on the live stream and watching it on YouTube, we are not live on the air yet, so we're going to get to you coming up here in just a few minutes, so stay tuned. What a night. Green Bay Packers knocked off, get beat by the Buffalo Bills. Is there any hope? Is there any hope? That's the question. Is there any hope? If you want to chime in, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. The question is going to be with what you saw tonight coming up. Do the Packers have any hope? Packers obviously fall in the standings. Vikings get yet another win. So, and be honest, it's not even about chasing the Vikings at this point. It's just about trying to be relevant and get yourself into a wild card position to maybe put some things together, get healthy at the right time, and then do some damage. But could have been a lot worse, I guess. There were some bright spots. First and foremost, they covered the 10.5-point spread, the 11.5-point spread. So there you go. I guess that's something to hang your hat on. And the other side of this is Aaron Jones, 20 carries, 143 yards. They finally committed to the run. 30 runs, 197 yards against the best run defense in the National Football League. I mean, there's something to be said for that. And now you think to yourself, how much of this season did you waste? And they mixed it up. I thought it was brilliant in a lot of the play calls. Under center, play action, motion. You know, some of the blocking up front I thought was some pretty good blocking, but you know, there were certain times, obviously, early on in this ball game that things broke down, but just not a great performance in that aspect at all. So counting us down, we got to go. We're going here in about 30 seconds to go live.
58.
Here we go, guys.
319. 319.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Good evening to all of you listening on the network and on the app, and also all of you that I've been talking to for about the last 5 minutes over on the Bud Light live stream. The Green Bay Packers, they covered the spread. Is it any kind of a moral victory? 27-17, the Green Bay Packers, they fall to the Buffalo Bills. The Packers now 3-5. The Bills 6-1 on the season. But is there any hope after what you just witnessed? Is there any hope? You saw the Packers do some things that are unpacker-esque. They actually committed to the run. 30 carries, 197 yards tonight. Is what they racked up against the number one rushing defense in the National Football League. Aaron Rodgers, 19 of 30, 203 yards, a couple of touchdowns, had the one pick. Romeo Doubs showed up tonight, had the 26-yarder, 4 catches. Torrey shows up, 37-yarder into the end zone. Robert Tonyan, 5 catches, 35 yards tonight. So there were some things that you could say, okay, maybe it's you know, either one, it's too little too late, and it's going to be just playing a game of catch-up for the remainder of the season. Or you figured enough out, you can go in and start to show a little bit of this. You can go beat Detroit, maybe put the train back on the tracks, and who knows? Aaron Rodgers ends up with a quarterback rating of 91.4, Josh Allen 75.1 after he threw not one but 2 picks late in this ball game. 153 yards of rushing for the Buffalo Bills and 208 total yards tonight as Aaron Rodgers also scrambled for 11 yards by the Green Bay Packers. So they ran for more yards than they passed for this evening. Maybe they found somebody in Torrey. It certainly seems like Romeo Doubs getting a little more comfortable. But again, you have Christian Watson right away out with a concussion. Devondre Campbell had that knee issue, left with ice on his knee, not to return. And then Quay Walker gets tossed. Dumb, undisciplined, stupid, Penalties played a key in this again tonight. Quite a few penalties, 8 penalties for the Green Bay Packers, 58 yards, only 4 penalties, 35 yards for the Buffalo Bills. The one on Robert Tonyan, did he push off? Technically, yes, but he was also hand-to-hand combat downfield. All he was the bigger, stronger guy. So had they let that play stand, it's an entirely different ball game, and maybe something even more so you can build off of if you're the Green Bay Packers. Phone lines are wide open, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up over on Twitter, do it. You can find me at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can also track us down on Twitter, again, at Bill_Michaels, on the Facebook fan page, The Bill Michaels Show. If you're watching over on YouTube, thanks for coming by. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. Same thing over on Twitch TV. If you download the app, you can also drop us an email, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. So here's a couple of things. First and foremost, I want to ask you a couple of things because I got into this discussion during the game. First of all, the halftime interview with Matt LaFleur. What did you think of that? I want to get your opinion on that. I asked that over on Twitter, and quite a few of you kind of thought the same thing that I thought. So I want to get more reaction to that. Secondly, tonight, I started talking to a friend of mine, and he called me and he said, "Hey, I'm watching this game. Who's the leader of that team?" And I said, "What do you mean? It's Aaron Rodgers." He goes, wait a minute. He said, "Let me give you this." And so I posted this, and he sent me a quote. I don't know who it was from, but he said, "Outstanding leaders go out of their way to boost the self-esteem of those around them. Leaders need to coach and then lower themselves to help raise others up. If people begin to believe in themselves, it's amazing what can be accomplished." Okay. It's a lot of smoke up your ass. I get it. But he said, "Who's the leader of this team?" He's like, clearly it's Von Miller on defense and Allen over on offense. He has great players around him. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I can go along with that. I'm with you. He says, "Follow me now." He said, "Remember last year, the leader on defense of the winning team was Von Miller. Your leader on offense was pretty much Matthew Stafford, but he also had OBJ who came in and kind of lit a fire under guys." I said, "Okay, I can go along with that." He said, "Who's your leader on offense in Cincinnati?" I said, "Well, Joe Burrow." He said, "He's got Jamar Chase, who believes in him. Everybody else, they raise up, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Who was their leader on defense?" I said, "Well, you had a guy, was pretty boisterous, and, a couple of the guys that they had, Sam Hubbard, obviously up front, the left defensive end. They had Logan Wilson, right? Jermaine Pratt was their middle linebacker." He's like, "Yeah, right. Wilson and Pratt." He said, "Those are the two guys." I said, "So what's your point?" He said, "Who's the leader on this Packers team?" He said, "Does Aaron Rodgers lower himself to lift guys up?" No, he tells them, "Go get coached up by Cobby, go get coached up by the coaches, go get coached up by whatever." And I started to think about it. I said, okay, outside looking in, I can see that perception. He said, "Who's your leader on defense?" Because the guy that was the most outspoken, the guy that was the guy that brought everybody together was Zadarius Smith. He's gone. So who's now your leader on defense? Is that Devondre Campbell? So I don't know. Devondre very rarely speaks, so he doesn't come out and lead that way. Aaron Rodgers is the guy pointing the finger at a lot of people, but I don't know if he's lifting them up or what. It's a great question. I mean, Kenny Clark is not boisterous. He's not a guy that fires guys up around you. Jair Alexander, to a certain extent, but I'm watching tonight, people are tired of him chirping. I frankly like the attitude. It's been something we haven't seen in a long time. But who's a leader? So when you start to talk about leadership, we keep asking the question, what's missing this season? What's missing? And maybe that's what it is. I don't know. That's something we can get into at a deeper point in time. But, I thought I'd ask the question. 877-867-1670. Let's get to it. Gerard listening to us in Jersey. Gerard, what's going on, man?
The first time, how you doing, Bill? The
Good.
first time in years I seen a free rusher to the quarterback on a blitz, and it was Barrington. I haven't seen that. I can't remember. Every time they blitz, they usually get blocked or they run into the guard or anything else. But at the end of the game, Rodgers is sitting on the bench laughing with Jones and Dillon, and they're having a good old time. I don't know what that means, if anything. They do lack leadership. And we're talking about a guy who's pushing 40 years old, and we're still wondering if he's a leader or not. This is what kills me. The defense still isn't fixed. We got a safety in Savage that can't come up and make a play. I was watching him the whole game. I thought they pulled him for a second there, but I was watching him, as much as I can the whole game. What he does is he dances around the pile. He doesn't get in the mix. He had a gap where he could have put that running back right on his rear end, and he missed the tackle. He's drops passes. There's a lot of, you could say this is nitpicking, but this is what wins you games against these teams, making big plays on defense. And the offensive line, Nyman, oh my God, he got blown up so many times. I thought he was going to knock into Rodgers' lap.
Yep.
It was embarrassing now look at the difference between how physical Buffalo played.
Mm-hmm.
And look, they took their foot off the pedal in the second half. They sort of did. And when that ball was tipped and the interception after the turnover, after Douglas intercepted the ball, that was the game really right there. And we're going to need a long snapper because this guy's throwing them into the dirt or 4 feet high and the whole bit. So we're going to go through another long snapper pretty soon anyway, because that was a really bad snap on that last field goal attempt to win Crosby.
He's been low all night too. Coco been low all night.
Yeah, well, there's still so much to fix on this team, Bill. And let me tell you about trades. I don't make any trades. I don't make anything. I don't do anything. Maybe I get rid of a couple of guys, but I don't. And one guy I like is that Anabarke. I'm probably mispronouncing 55. This guy plays hard.
Yeah.
He really plays hard the whole game, and he's quick. So he has some potential. But I mean, as far as they are, to me, Bill, I've been watching them a long time. They're not gonna go anywhere. They really are. Now you notice Rodgers they finally moved the pocket near what they do at the end of the third.
Mm-hmm.
Moved the pocket a little bit where he started rolling out a little bit. Why does it take him so long, Bill? Why did that take him so long to do that, to avoid the rush up the middle?
Good question.
I mean, why everything they do, it takes so long to make an adjustment? And then when LaFleur was interviewed at the half, he had tears. I'm looking at this guy. He looked like he was ready to cry.
That's what I thought too. I agree with you. That's what I thought. I thought he either just got done crying or he was about ready to cry. That's exactly what I thought.
I'm telling you.
I thought maybe it was like an emotional halftime speech or something, and I don't know. I completely agree with you. It looked like Matt LaFleur was about ready to break down or had just broken down.
Oh, it's brutal. It is really brutal, Bill. It really is. And, I like the aggressiveness with a little bit of chirping, but I think that's making up for them just playing poorly. I think that's like street ball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. They're playing like street ball.
And that's what I go back to when I talk about leadership. It's like that's where I'm at. It's like, who's the leader of this defense right now?
You're right. And there are no leaders. And Campbell, I mean, it's too bad he got hurt. My God, the man is out of position. He's overrunning the ball. What happened to him?
He's trying to make up for other people's ineptitude, I think.
Maybe, but I mean, all of them, one time or another. I mean, Douglas looked bad on several. I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so many issues. That's why I don't make any trades, Bill, because I don't want to give up anything. Who knows what's going to happen after this season? And, we don't know. You know what I mean? You hope they get another defensive coordinator in there and maybe, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I just don't know. This looks like a waste of talent to me.
I
looks
can't
like
get
Rodgers
over
is
that
just,
they've got, 7 first rounders on that defense. And we thought they were going to be so good on paper. Now, granted, maybe it takes Quay Walker and Devontae White a season to get acclimated. Maybe they get better. But I am just stunned that the fundamentals of the ability to Darnell Savage used to put his head, his shoulder, everything in there. He tackles like my sister. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Yep. Yeah, and 5 of the 7 defensive players are the highest paid on the team that you just spoke about.
Yep.
And this is, I tell you, if someone comes at me and says, we'll give you a third for Preston Smith, he's gone. I mean, I know they stink in the 3rd round, but I mean, this is stuff you got to really think about. They're not going to do it. I know they're not going to do it because they don't want to make it look like they'll lose the fan, they'll lose some fans. So we got to keep fooling the fans. Remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that. That's one of the things.
Got to keep that money coming in.
Yeah, no, that's the game. You know that.
Yep.
That's the game.
Keep it viable.
And it's pomp and don't forget, Bill, we need the pomp and circumstances.
You're the man, Gerard.
That's all that.
Thanks, bud.
Good night, Bill.
Appreciate it. There you go. Let's go to Bruce. Bruce, welcome to the program, man. What's happening?
Man, you see, I'm going to put it to you like this. How long, how much more can you take of this? And I want to know what Matt LaFleur's excuse is going to be this time around. I don't understand. Okay, the guys on the defense cannot tackle. They run around like kids out there and they can't even tackle. And Aaron Rodgers, I'm sorry, man. I'm ready to pack him up, send him off somewhere else. I can't stand him. He needs to go. If this continues, I'm going to say that they are in. I think they're going to go in a rebuild. They need to get rid of Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous. His game is just like. I just had it. I had it with. I'm ready to let Aaron Rodgers go. Somebody got to step up and say something. But I want to hear Matt LaFleur's excuse this time.
Yeah,
he said he challenges his players. What is his excuse? I want to know seriously. Yeah. And if he can't answer that question, then you should not be the head coach of the Green Bay Packers.
Bruce, always good, man. I appreciate it, pal. Talk to you. So that's Bruce giving us a shout from, I believe, in Milwaukee here, and Gerard was from I believe it's Jersey. I believe in that area. I'm probably, or Newark, I can't remember. Hell, I can't remember. Anyway, 877-867-1670. Let's do this. I got a lot of people chiming in on the Bud Light live stream. All of you over there, I want to get to you. I want to get your comments in. A lot of good stuff here flying in today. So let's start pulling it up, shall we? Let's do this. Boy, that's just too long. This one, who's this one from? This is from Benjamin. I saw sparks in our offense tonight. That gives me hope. Better, but not where we need to be. Go out and get a few weapons, and then we're going to be good. This one is from our buddy Watcher22. Where do you go from here? 2023 draft talk, I guess. Gerard is from Delaware, by the way. Thank you very much. Over on the Bud Light live stream. This one is from Drew. Said, we look bad. Draft picks look bad. Too much to fix. This one, I'm just kind of going randomly at this point. Watcher again, a lot of injuries in the games, fans, players, everything's going on. Everything's bad right now. This one is also from, this is from Dave. Dave says, come on, Dave, pull back up. There we go. Need a new person in charge of the draft and a new D coordinator right now. This one is from Christopher. I think it's from Christopher. No, it's from Scott. Most of the defensive picks, terrible. Tyler, Packers need weapons. Noby replying to everybody else saying Packers stink. John says, let's see here. He said, this is the one that says, Tyler, Packers need more weapons as well. So it goes on from there. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up again, 877-867-1670. I'll try to get to everybody coming up here shortly. Stay tuned. Got a whole lot more. The Green and Gold postgame show. It's coming up to you right after this.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Packers beating tonight 27-17. Welcome back. It's the Green and Gold postgame show. I'm Bill Michaels. Glad to have you on board this evening. Thanks to everybody watching over on the Bud Light live stream as well. Matt LaFleur after the ball game. We're going to hear from him coming up here in just a short bit. What really did in the Green Bay Packers was penalties, extending drives, the penalty, unfortunately, on Tanyan that killed a touchdown opportunity. But really, you get the 3 and out to start the game. And you think this is exactly what you want. This is exactly what you want. The Packers then go 9 plays, 34 yards. They turn it over on downs. And then they give it right back to Buffalo. Buffalo then scores on the next 5 possessions. Touchdown, 8 plays, 61 yards. Touchdown, 4 plays, 51 yards. Touchdown, 8 plays, 65 yards. Then a field goal, 4 plays, 51 yards, and 8 plays, 56 yards, and another field goal. And that was all she wrote. That was all they needed. The next 2 drives to begin the fourth quarter was 2 picks. Josh Allen picked off twice in the beginning of the fourth, which gave you a little bit of a glimmer of hope. But, for the most part, it was 5 straight scoring drives where the defense just gave it up. The defense, not a horrific day in the grand scheme of things. They held the Bills to only 28.6% on third down and Josh Allen only threw for 218 yards, a quarterback rating of 75.1. But it was penalties. It extended drives. It gave them second chances. And you still gave up 153 yards rushing on the day. 877-867-1670. Did you find hope? Did you find any hope? Or are you just looking at this next upcoming game as Detroit going, this is the hope game where you beat them, you get some hope. Maybe it's false hope. Maybe it's real hope. Maybe you get a second half like they just had against Buffalo, put an entire game together against Detroit, and then you come back and maybe you're ready to roll after that. Let's go back to the phone calls. Let's go to Vin. Vin, welcome to the program, man. What's up?
Hey, Bill, how's it going? I mean, this phone call would have been worse because I was pretty, I want to say pretty PO'd most of the night watching it. I like the fight back, but honestly, Bill, the only hope I see for the Packers getting on check if they, just like when I called you Friday, if Brian Gutekunst would get off his ass and make a move. Some of your callers saying, "Oh, just trade Rodgers. Let's get the draft picks." What are we going to need draft picks for? Honestly,
right?
Goody's just going to squander those draft picks anyway. So what the hell do we need more draft picks? Why can't we just get? You see the problems, right? Yeah, the offensive line. I get that, but you see the problems. We need more receivers. I don't know what. I just don't know why Goody doesn't see that. If he would just shock everybody Tuesday and just make a move. You hear me, Bill?
Yep. I look at it this way. If you can go out and make a move and get a wide receiver for at least this year and the next year, then you got a fighter's chance. Because you got to make a move in the offseason anyway.
Yeah. And can I make another point, Bill?
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw a couple callers say this. When is it about time they either bench Dean Lowry or get rid of him? Because I saw it tonight too. I saw him getting double teamed, bulldozed down to the ground and everything. And when is it time to either bench him or just get rid of him completely? I know he had the good year last year, but honestly, if I was Goody again, why are you going off one good year with Dean Lowry? Upgrade that position instead of going with a freaking not crappy player, but like a mediocre player. You know what I mean?
Dean Lowry tonight in the trenches was in on 2 tackles, 1 solo, 1 assist. That was it.
Yep. And honestly, too, and one more point, to light a spark on people's asses too, I think Joe Barry should get fired. I think the Packers should just do something just to spark it. Fire Joe Barry just to get something going. Thanks for the call, Bill.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, Rasul Douglas, anytime you have a defensive back as your leading tackler, your day sucks. Quay Walker, by the way, your second leading tackler. Preston Smith, 5 of them. Adrian Amos, your safety position, 5 of them. Darnell Savage, 4 of them. And I would say probably as many whiffs as he had tackles. Isaiah McDuffie came in, played admirably in a tough situation. 4 tackles tonight. Kenny Clark, 4 of them. Wilson, 3 tackles, 1 of them being a sack. They sacked Allen twice today. One of them with Rasul Douglas coming off the edge, which was solid. He also had an interception and a pass defended. So nice day for him, Rasul Douglas had. But no, I know some of you will say, don't make a trade. Keep the draft choices and build on it. Like what? Josh Myers was solid. A.J. Dillon's been solid. I'm going by second rounders. Elton Jenkins been solid. Josh Jackson was a second rounder. Oren Burks was a third rounder. Jamon Moore was a 4th rounder. Cole Madison, J.K. Scott, MVS, Equinemius St. Brown, James Looney, Hunter Bradley, Kendall Donnerson. All of them gone from the 2018 draft. The only one remaining is Jair Alexander. That's it. Your third round draft choices have been atrocious. Jay Sternberger, Oren Burks, Josiah DeGuara, Amari Rodgers, Sean Ryan. We don't know how he's going to pan out, but that's the third round draft choices. You hang on to draft. Chase Claypool, apparently they're asking for a second rounder. I do that right damn now. He's going to require money down the road. Who cares? You were willing to pay Devontae. This guy's younger. 877-867-1670. you got to, it's Collinsworth said it tonight on the broadcast. He said, these guys don't know what Devontae knew to break open. Samori Toure saw that. He's like, oh, wait a minute. This is open. I forced the safety off to the left. I ended up breaking to the right. I left about 20 yards of field in front of me that only I could get to. Rodgers found me. Boom, touchdown. Rodgers meets him at the sideline. That's what I'm talking about. Guys they're not doing that. And I had said at the beginning of the season, one of the things about this team is when you get into 2-minute situations, they are going to suck. They don't have it. They don't have that ability. Damned if that wasn't what we saw tonight too. Anybody. Just get somebody with some experience. And don't give me the retreads. Don't give me crap. Get somebody. They won't do it. If they do it, knock me over with a feather. Aaron says, Judy or Chubb, I'd go right now. Drew says, can you tweet out the halftime interview? I wish I could. If anybody has it, put it on a video and shoot it out on Twitter, and then I'll try to get it out there. But yeah, you just looked at Coach's eyes, and you're like, what? He looked like he had either a really emotional halftime speech, okay, or he was crying. He was ready to cry. And I thought, maybe there's emotion in there. I'm not saying it's a sign of weakness. I'm thinking maybe this was it. Maybe he knew, guys, you got to give me something. We got to do better than what we're doing. Something has to change right here, right now. Anything. If you're even going to be close to this game. Otherwise, you're going to get blown out. This is it. Obviously, it was too little too late. And they just don't have the ability to get downfield. The offensive line will eventually come together. They got schooled in the first half, and they came together better in the second half. Yeah, Josh Nijman got blown up. I get that. And Rodgers didn't have a ton of time to throw the football. But it'll come together. And I tweeted out, at least Bakhtiari looked pretty good tonight. A couple of times on double teams, man, he was doing some pancaking tonight. He looked like the old David Bakhtiari again. I was really happy to see that. And I know. Saying what was Quay Walker thinking? Yeah, I don't know. Let's do this. We're going to go take a quick break. We'll come back. We got more.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others, time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Get insurance from a company who knows Wisconsin and cares about your community. You may know Rural Mutual Insurance as the #1 farm insurer, but did you know they also offer competitive home and auto rates? Visit ruralmutual.com to learn more about products and discounts.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Blue 58, go! Green 18, Green 99, touch!
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Packers knocked off by the Buffalo Bills. They at least beat the spread, but still 27-17 and 11.5 point spread in tonight's contest. The Packers at least held it off, but nevertheless, it's a loss. They go to 3-5. Bills go to 6-1. Vikings win again today. Vikings won again, eating up the division. Vikings right now 6-1 on the season. Chicago and Green Bay both sitting at 3-5. Detroit 1-6. Detroit got beat at home, and a valiant effort by Detroit, but it was pretty much all for naught as they ended up getting beat yet again as well. Around the rest of the league, obviously on Thursday night, 27-22, Tom Brady's problems, they continue to spin. Not only did he lose, but he ended up getting divorced, or at least filing the divorce papers. Early on today, the Broncos get a 21-17 win over a Jaguars team that appears to be down and out. The Falcons held off the Panthers at home 37-34. Cowboys smoked the Bears, putting up a 49 spot on them. And it wasn't even 49-29 was the final. It wasn't even really that close. The Dolphins came back to get a win, putting up 14 in the third quarter, and the Lions got shut out in the second half, 31-27. The final 34-26. The Vikings held off the Cardinals. Cardinals needed that one too bad, and they didn't get it. How about them Raiders? Holy mackerel. Wait a minute. Did you see that Raiders game? The Saints beat the Raiders, but today, Devontae Adams, 5 targets, only 1 catch, and 3 yards. Oh, that's a bad day at the office. I don't care who you are. Ooh, terrible day for Devontae Adams and the Raiders. Patriots knock off the Jets, 22-17, continue the win streak over the Jets. Somewhat of a surprising game. The Eagles dominated. They remain undefeated, 7-0 on the season, 35-13. Knock off the Steelers. Titans 17-10 over the Texans. Washington goes into Indianapolis and gets the win, 17-16. 31-14, the 49ers again beat, I think it's for the 6th straight time, beat Sean McVay and the LA Rams in LA, 31-14. Seahawks get the best of the Giants out there in Seattle, 27-13. And then tonight, the Sunday night game, 27-17, the Bills knock off the Packers. The Packers second half, they put up 10 points in the second half after only putting up 7 in the first half. They held the Bills to 3 points in the second half after giving up 24 in the first. You tell me, is there any hope? Is there any hope? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Phone lines are wide open. Going to those of you over on the Bud Light live stream as well, trying to get everybody's comments in as much as we can. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up. We're going to hear from Aaron Rodgers coming up. Mike Clemens going to be joining us coming up here in a little bit as well. Who's this from? This is from Marv. Says, I'll call it right here. Lions are going to win at home next week. Not seeing much there that he really likes. This team right now, according to the Bad Guide TVs, this team feels so disjointed. Nobody looks happy on the sideline. And Andrew wants to know, how late is the show going tonight? Andrew, I'm done at midnight, man. I think that's all we could take, right? That's all we can take. Can't take much more of that. What else do we have here for you? Who was the player that pushed the coach? I see way too many mental mistakes from this team. Steve, that was Quay Walker. First round draft choice, gave a shove. It wasn't a coach. It was actually the practice squad tight end that he shoved. And it looked like the tight end, the practice squad tight end, tried to kind of help him from flying out of bounds, from continuing to roll out of bounds. But as he got up, he kind of tried to help him up. And, Quay Walker may have taken that as he was trying to shove him, so he shoved him back. But you can't, first of all, anybody that is not in pads, you cannot shove, period. End of story. He's got to know that, man. You can't do that. One of the signs that I've always stated when it comes to poor coaching is discipline. When guys are not in position to make plays, when guys are being outworked, out-hustled, and out-coached, they lack discipline because they go rogue, they get frustrated, they get pissed off, and they make stupid moves. Quay Walker was the epitome of that at the time. Now, I will say this, the one penalty on Robert Tonyan just before he caught the touchdown pass, that to me could have gone either way because he was just a bigger, stronger guy. The problem was he shoved him so hard, it was obvious. Had he just kind of put his arm out and just to kind of get him off of him, he might have gotten away with it. But because he was just so big and strong versus the defensive back, it was obvious in that sense. 877-867-1670. Couple of mics on board. Mike in Rockford. Mike, welcome to the program and the Green and Gold Postgame Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, Bill. Listen, I'm going to say this. The Packers were beat, obviously, not as badly as I thought. I really thought this was going to be a blowout by the Bills. I was, I know everyone's pissed off that the Packers lost, but I think they hung in there. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't think, at halftime, I saw it. My buddy and I are sitting there in my basement watching the game, and we watched Matt LaFleur at halftime. You know what? I don't know if he had tears in his eyes. Yeah, his eyes looked a little glassy, but he looked more like deer in the headlights to me. He looked like he didn't even know what to say. Because you know what? What do you say? Well, what are you going to do? You're going to continue to run the ball. You're down. You don't have the weapons. Aaron Rodgers is a shell of himself, and it doesn't look to me like, it just doesn't look like this team. They couldn't even run the 2-minute. I mean, look at when they were running, they were doing they were no huddle offense, the 2-minute offense. They even, Collinsworth said, he goes, these guys don't look like they know what they're doing out there.
Right.
That falls on the coaching. And that's where I blame the coaching. And, I'm going to say this. I said this from the beginning. Everyone was giving all these praises to Matt LaFleur. Oh, then he's going to be a great head coach. Get rid of Mark McCarthy. Look at how good he is. Let's keep in mind, he's riding the coattails of Aaron Rodgers. Okay. If you take Aaron Rodgers off this roster, the Packers would have won 0 games this year. Okay. Because I'm that confident. Listen, people are saying trade Rodgers. Listen to me. You got it. This guy is still an elite quarterback. And if you just get him the pieces he needs and our offensive line is battered up, and he doesn't have time. He's running for his life back there. And, it's just not a good year. There's injuries all over. It's a weird year in the league. We're seeing weird scores. We're seeing upsets that you wouldn't imagine. But the other caller said something. I want to reflect on it. I got a bad feeling, Bill, about this game in Detroit, and I'm going to tell you why. The Detroit Lions, for some reason, have always given the Packers a hard time. They just, in Detroit, the Packers have had sometimes bad times losing there. Not a lot, but they just seem like sometimes Detroit has their number.
Mm-hmm.
And, Detroit's due to win a game. They're 1-6.
Right.
And that's what scares me. And then these injuries that the Packers got today, we don't know how serious they are. Is the concussion, is it going to keep, what's his name out, the receiver?
Christian Watson.
The other guy with his, and the guy with his knee. So, but you know what, Bill, at the end of the day, I'll say one last thing, I'll hang up. I don't, people have to, we got to sit back and realize, listen, I'm in Rockford, Illinois, and I'm originally from Chicago, but I grew up a Packer fan since I was a kid. My father was from Wisconsin. And, I'm going to tell you, we could be the Chicago Bears. How would everybody like to be like the Bears right now in that organization? The Packers have dominated the NFC for close to 30 years, the NFC North. And, we're having a bad year, and we're just always so used to number 12 bailing us out, and everybody's, always thinking that, this team's always going to win. And there's a little bit of arrogance about Packer fans.
Yeah.
And we have to step back and say, you know what? Injuries happen, rosters change, and you're not always going to win. But the window is small, and I do blame a lot of this Packers organization on how they drafted. They didn't give Rodgers help for 2-3 years in a row when he needed it, and then they get rid of Devontae Adams, and that's all I got to say, Bill. But we'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to the playoffs this year.
I think it's looking really bleak. Appreciate the phone call, man. He drops off. You get on board 877-867-1670. Let's go back to the next Mike. Mike, listening to us in West Allis, Wisconsin. Mike, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
I'm doing good. How's it going, Bill?
Good, man. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I got 3 points. Number one, what is Sammy Watkins still doing on this team? 1 catch, 3 yards. He gets hurt in the third quarter, of course.
Yeah.
The guy, he can never stay healthy. He can't get open. He has no speed or juice whatsoever. I just don't even understand why he's playing out there. I'd much rather have Samori Toure out there because he's younger, he's got fresh legs, and he made that big play today. I just think that he deserves some playing time going forward.
I would think so too.
Yep. And number two, what we've been seeing this season, Bill, is a microcosm of the last 4 years. What have we all been saying? Packers need a number two opposite Davante Adams. Well, now you don't have Davante. You don't have a 1 or a 2. They haven't invested in the wide receiver position since 2014, since they got Davante in the second round, and it's showing its ugly face again. Even worse because now they don't have Davante. And number three, what is the downside for the Packers in acquiring a Chase Claypool, a Jerry Jeudy, or Elijah Moore, somebody like that, when you're going to have them for this year and for next year? You're not mortgaging your future because that wide receiver would be the future, Bill. You'd have a this year, next year. You'd probably sign the long-term extension. You're going to need that position anyways. I just don't see the downside to that.
Because they think every freaking draft choice they make is going to be gold, and it's going to be some all-pro caliber wide receiver that they're going to hold on to for 5 years and get the most out of, and they don't want to pay anybody right away. And it's when you find a guy like a Claypool or more, and those guys that have proven themselves, and all they want is a second-round draft choice. If you said right now that you picked this year Chase Claypool with the second-round draft choice, you'd be freaking thrilled, right?
Yeah.
Then why would you not trade a second-round draft choice for a guy that's proven himself? It just doesn't make sense to me.
I don't understand it, Bill. And we've seen, Christian Watson is talented, but the guy can't stay on the field. I think he hasn't even been able to get through a game staying healthy. So that's kind of a waste of a draft pick this year. Maybe he's good going forward. Maybe not. Maybe he's just always hurt. And then what do you have going forward?
Yep.
Dobbs, he looks like he could be a player, but I don't think he's a 1. I don't think.
And Romeo Doubs, by the way, was a what? A 4th-round draft choice.
Right. He's a 4th rounder. he's not a 1st or 2nd round draft pick. So I just don't see the downside to acquiring one of those guys. And I just think it's football malpractice by Gutekunst if he doesn't make a move.
Completely agree. Mike, appreciate the phone call. We got to run. Good stuff from Mike. Good stuff from the Mike. Prior to that, when we come back, the man you want to hear from, Matt LaFleur. He speaks to the media. You're going to hear it all. It's coming up next on the Green and Gold Postgame Show. Stay right here.
This is the Green and Gold Postgame Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Obviously disappointed for everybody, for our guys. I thought, they competed till the end, but certainly Buffalo is a very talented football team, and I think that was pretty evident in all three phases. You got to give them a ton of credit. They came out with more intensity early on and, put us in too big of a hole to climb out of. I just told the guys that I thought just our process in terms of the week of practice, the preparation, the focus, the energy level was where we needed to be, and hopefully that'll start leading to better results. But certainly, our guys are disappointed. I'm disappointed. But we've got to find a way to right this thing. And we've got an NFC North opponent next week. And, I know that they're going to give us everything they got. They always have. And it's going to be a heck of a test. And we really got to, be more disciplined, be more consistent in order to try to get on the right side of one of these things.
Hey, Coach, what do you see as an opportunity to improve your team moving forward?
In what regard?
Just the product in the field, what we saw today. I know there are improvements that can be made. What do you see as those?
I think there's a lot. Every area we got to improve on many things. I think there's also just the discipline aspect. We're getting killed with penalties, and it's taking points off the board. It's extending drives. We got to be, when it gets chippy, you got to keep your poise. We can't be losing players to a personal foul, getting in a shoving match on the sideline. So that was disappointing.
Coach, you basically outplayed the Bills today. When you go back and look at the stats so far, yards total offense, you ran the ball well. Josh Allen only 218, 2 interceptions. Where do you think that what went wrong?
Like I said, we were in a hole. I want to say they scored 5 consecutive drives after we held them to a 3-and-out, and the next 5 possessions are getting points. Whereas we had opportunities. Where we didn't always cash in. And certainly, having Bobby's touchdown come off the board, it was a bad 4th down call by me. And, they played cover 0, and, it's just tough sledding. So we just got to finish drives, and you can't get that far behind against one of the premier teams in this league.
Well, why'd you guys take Stokes out for that a little bit?
I just change it up, and that's why.
What was or will be your message to Clay, the ejection? How much will find in that should actually lose Campbell and not?
Yeah, I just think it's I don't know exactly what happened. I could not see it, but like I told him on the field, I said it's always the second guy, and you got to keep your poise, and that's something we talk about, we stress all the time, and we show clips of guys around the league losing their mind, and it's an unfortunate lesson that he's got to learn, and I hope it's a good reminder for everybody on our football team, because that's the kind of stuff that I have zero tolerance for. Mistakes are going to happen in this game, but losing your cool, losing your poise, putting the team in jeopardy, you got no tolerance for that.
And is today more of what you need to see offensively moving forward?
I think we got to find that balance. I was super proud of our ability to come off the football. I thought everybody was blocking hard. Tight ends, running backs, receivers, or the runners were running hard. I thought Aaron did a fantastic job getting us in and out of good looks. But I also think that we have to be able to mix it up a little bit. And what's so evident is that fourth down is a great representation of that. We ran that play earlier in the game. We're actually trying to run a toss. And if we had two guys outside of where we were tossing it, we canned it to the basically an inside zone. And they played cover zero, did a better job than we did, and we need a better play goal.
That play get blown up from the outside.
It was the backside. It was the backside.
Coach, can you talk about Isaiah McDuffie's play, coming back home and getting an opportunity to play when Campbell went down?
Yeah, no, I think Isaiah's a guy that always, you know what you're going to get from him. It's going to be 100 miles an hour, full speed ahead. He's tougher than nails. He does a great job on teams. And, when given his opportunities, he's done a nice job on defense as well. So I'll have to go back and take a peek at the film before I can give you a great assessment on how he did out there. But I thought he handled himself the right way.
You had 30 carries, 200 rushing yards tonight. Just offensively does not have enough supporting cast on the perimeter in terms of playmakers to support what you need to have in your running game.
I don't know about that. I think we got some youth. I think when Christian went out, that certainly was a little bit of a blow. Just in regards, it caused the reshuffling effect to happen again. Because going into it, when we were going to go 11 personnel, he was going to be primarily our Z. Rome was playing our F. Sammy was at the X. And then we were subbing Samori and Amari in as well.
There you go. That's Matt LaFleur talking. He's getting into some other detailed stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's stuff of interest, but it's a little bit on the deeper side when it comes to, what's going on with his team. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. We'll load up all the phone calls that are on the line, and we'll get to you coming up here momentarily. This one is from Bill. Bill says, at what point does LaFleur actually feel the heat? Which I think 4 losses in a row on a team that's been playing pretty ugly. Contract or no contract, I think he's starting to feel the heat. He's not talking about motivational things. He's not talking about stuff when it gets into the specifics. He's talking about, Christian Watson and what happened and who has to fill what role and what they did after the fact. And he, what I wanted to hear is exactly what he said. They showed us cover zero on the 4th down. And what are you doing? You get a cover zero. They're coming all out on the 4th down and you still run the damn ball. You didn't leave room to check out of it. Nothing. Bad play call. At least it was from under center. You gave it a fighter's chance. At least maybe you've been listening to the program. But nothing. Nothing. It's just another, it was my bad play call. Well, how many bad play calls are you going to have in key moments of games? How many bad ones? Obviously, Quay Walker, you can't be that stupid. You can't get into that. Yeah. Josh says, just another excuse from Mr. Blah Blah. Ryan says, can't listen to Matt LaFleur anymore. No passion. It's like listening to the guy call out Ferris Bueller's name in roll call. Bueller. Brooklyn says, Matt LaFleur, while he may seem like a smart offensive coordinator, he is a stupid head coach. A lack of discipline. All the details are should have, would have, could have. I can't listen to him anymore. This team is lost. Jake says, at least they showed some fight in the second half. Maybe a little hope to beat some of the weaker teams, but they're going to get about 7 wins at best. Johnny says, just shut up. Stop it. Just shut up. Quit giving us the excuses as to why you didn't win. We'd love to hear the excuses as to why you can't fix them. And Blake, last but not least, says, I do like Matt LaFleur. I like his personality, but I think he's too milquetoast to be the head coach of a team that's going through adversity. You need a strong leader, and he's not. That is from Blake. There you have it. 877-867-1670. Let's do this. When we come back, Aaron Rodgers at the podium as well. I want to get into that conversation. Take a listen. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Green and Gold Postgame Show coming up next.
This is the Green and Gold Postgame Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Joe Barry has to be one of the dumbest. I don't get it at all. Happened again tonight. So it just, there's a lot of things that Aaron Rodgers discussed. It's frustration. It's a lot of little moments you can kind of build off of. But all in all, it's another loss. It's a 10-point loss. It's not being able to get into the 20s. It's an offense that is somewhat anemic, goes away for most of the time. They get into a little bit of a rhythm, and then it all gets shut down. All gets blown apart. All gets blown apart. So I completely agree with most of what you're saying. 877-867-1670. When we come back, Mike Clemens going to join us. We'll wrap it up. But good stuff tonight from everybody, whether it's phone calls over on the Bud Light live stream, also with everybody emailing as well. Good stuff. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Green and Gold postgame show coming up next.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I think we all know some things tonight that weren't normal for us, right? Pretty uncharacteristic, kind of out of norm for us. We're better than that at times tonight that we showed. We go right back to it this week. Right back to it this week. Let's be smart tonight. Be smart tonight. I know we got a lot to work on, but it's hard to win. I'm going to reinforce that. It is hard to win in this league, man. Proud of you guys.
Welcome back to the program. Packers get knocked out by the Buffalo Bills. That is their head coach, Sean McDermott, in the Bills locker room after beating the Green Bay Packers Bring him in now, our buddy Mike Clemens, along for the ride. And Mike, I know there's a little bit of a moral victory to take out of the second half of this ball game, but still, they have now lost 4 in a row. They, really had an, inept first half of the game. Mistakes continue to happen. I mean, what do you say? It gives you a little hope, but not much.
Starts off with the injury to Christian Watson. This guy just can't stay on the field. He takes the helmet shot. I don't know. I was kind of surprised maybe there wasn't a flag thrown on the bill that hit him, but he's now going to be in for a concussion. And then this Quay Walker incident. There was this play where Stephon Diggs caught that ball over the middle. The next play, he ended up scoring on a touchdown pass. But the ball came loose, and there was a review going on, and Eric Stokes, your corner, was in there in the pile trying to pull the ball out, or he thought he had possession of it. And then I don't know what happened exactly after that, but the next thing I know is on the very next play, Rasul Douglas was at the corner. Stokes was on the sidelines getting yelled at by Rich Bisaccia. And they had Keyshawn Nixon in there playing in the slot. And, Diggs scored on a touchdown. And then you had this situation where Quay Walker, and then Stokes came back in the game. LaFleur was asked about it. He said, "Hey, we just made a change." So I don't know. We don't quite know what that story is yet. But then there's a situation where Quay Walker is running down a guy into the Bills bench, and either an assistant coach or one of their staff, it wasn't a player, guy with a cap and coat, is yelling something at Quay, and he shoves this guy back. And then upon further review, not only did they take a 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty or unsportsmanlike, but he got ejected from the game.
Mm-hmm.
And LaFleur was asked about that situation with the rookie.
I don't know exactly what happened. I could not see it. But like I told him on the field, I said, it's always the second guy. You got to keep your poise. And that's something we talk about, we stress all the time. And we show clips of guys around the league losing their mind. And, it's an unfortunate lesson that he's got to learn. I hope it's a good reminder for everybody on our football team, because that's the kind of stuff that I have zero tolerance for.
Not only did that happen, but then, like you had mentioned, the injury, Devondre Campbell goes down. He's got an injury, but this team falls behind early. And I tell you what, even that fourth down play where he said he had a bad call, and I understand all of that, but they needed it. They needed a kid and keep the Buffalo Bills off the field. And the Bills just put the dagger in them early in this ball game, and they just weren't able to catch up.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers and a couple of the players seem to be a little resentful. Like, how does this happen 2 weeks in a row that one of our studs, last week is David Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, we find out 90 minutes before the game he's not going to go. So now we got to put Zach Tom in at left guard, and we assume it's because of the knee. But whatever the case, they've got, that is jarring to this offense. And then you see the Bills just penetrating right up the middle through the Packers' pass protection. So, Rodgers was just under duress trying to throw even short passes with the pressure he's getting right up the middle. And that led to, the Packers having to punt or turnover and falling behind early. And LaFleur was asked about, how the flow of the game started out erratically in favor of the Bills.
We're in a hole. I want to say, what did they score? 5 consecutive drives after we held them to a 3-and-out, and the next 5 possessions are getting points. Whereas, we had opportunities, where we didn't always cash in. And certainly, having Bobby's touchdown come off the board, it was a bad 4th down call by me. And, they played cover 0. I think there's also just the discipline aspect. I mean, we were getting killed with penalties, and it's taking points off the board. It's extending drives. We got to be, when it gets chippy, you got to keep your poise. We can't be losing players to a personal foul, getting in a shoving match on the sideline. So that was disappointing.
Rodgers talked about some of the bright moments, I guess, which there were some good moments, but overall, man, it just, again, it just goes down as another loss.
Yeah, and, we also found out that LaFleur told the NBC crew that, you know what, he had a special teams meeting with the captains, just the captains, on Wednesday afternoon. That's probably why we waited so long for Rodgers to come out and talk to us. And Rodgers said that this was a better week of preparation.
We could practice. The energy in the pregame in the locker room was different. It felt like Packers again. I felt like, for whatever reason, we didn't have the confidence for a few weeks. We weren't playing with a lot of energy. We weren't amped up before the game. So I like the way we felt before the game. Maybe it's Sunday football. Maybe it was being counted out. Maybe it was this environment. But I like that's encouraging. But the play in the first half wasn't very encouraging.
Now, with the state of what this football team is in right now here, with the lack of continuity in the passing game, do you feel that it's any added pressure for you with this team on your shoulders right now?
I don't really know how to answer that, to be honest with you. I don't feel any added pressure. I like more on me. I enjoy the pressure, enjoy the opportunities to throw the ball down the field, and hopefully we can get some opportunities next week. We need some guys healthy though.
You know, you hope that he's the leader everybody needs him to be, Mike, because now they're really up against it with the hole they've dug this early in the season.
And chippy. This game starts out chippy. Yeah. The game starts off with Jair Alexander and Stephon Diggs, both teams coming out through the same tunnel before the game. Diggs shoving Jair, and Jair kind of talking back. And so Diggs was asked about, is there some history between you and the Packers and your time with the Vikings?
I mean, a little bit. I haven't really thought about it, you know what I'm saying, because I haven't played the Packers. Before the game? Nah, I wasn't thinking about it like that because, I mean, my opponent changes each and every week as far as, like, I used to play them in the past. So it wasn't like something I anticipated him, I don't know, doing the that he did. I didn't anticipate that. I don't give a fuck who started. I finished it. You know what I'm saying? I got the win. It's not I don't deal with more victories. I don't deal with one-on-one battles because this is not a one-on-one game. We're not out there playing 7-on-7, and this is not one-on-ones. If that's the case, I'm by myself. But it's a team effort, you know what I'm saying? I got a dub. I feel like at the end of the day, there are no more victories.
Was there more talking in this game than usual?
It's the most talking there's ever been with another team, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know why. We don't really do too much talking. You've seen us week in and week out. We just go in and try to get the job done, you know what I'm saying? So, it happens this way sometimes. I don't care. No matter how a game approaches, you know what I'm saying? I'm a leader in this football team. I'm going to continue to be a leader, and I'm going to lead by example. And I don't get pushed around by nobody.
You know, Mike, okay, defensively speaking, it got chippy, but what I was happy to see was, and again, maybe it's too little too late, but the Packers discovered they can actually run the football if they stick to it.
And they came out in the fourth, in the second half, throwing, a pick. Then they went to the run, and they end up with the night over 200 yards rushing, both from Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon getting twisted around and still going back into the game with a couple of more carries. And defensive, background coach Sean McDermott from the Bills was asked, was he surprised how much Green Bay ran the football in the second half, even though they were trailing by 17?
That's not a reason. The run game, that they had the run game cooking before that. So, and then when they did, down 17, a little bit, but with Aaron Rodgers too, he has an uncanny way to bring his team back in a hurry. So they probably feel comfortable in that situation doing that, knowing who they have at quarterback and how well he operates and how quickly he can score. I was maybe a little bit surprised, but it wasn't out of the question that they would run the ball in those situations.
And they had success doing it. So I give them credit, and maybe we'll see more of that. But you go back to the defense. At least the defense, after giving up 5 straight scoring drives, they rose to the occasion with a couple of interceptions.
Yeah, and Josh Allen's going to throw some when he rolls out. He admitted he made a couple of mistakes with those 2 picks he threw to Jair and Rasul in the second half.
Obviously, that second half, wish we had a few things back. Got a little out of groove and just did some uncharacteristic things. Can't make those decisions. Can't put our team in a situation where, the only way that team gets back in it is by turning the ball over. And 2 stupid ones that really had no business throwing. Second one was just really trying to dirt it and just didn't dirt it. So those happen. We'll learn from it. Coming off a bye, at the end of the day, we're 6-1. I know we got a team that's playing really well next week in New York. So learn from this one, put it behind us, and look forward towards next week.
Mike, we're going to break it all down again tomorrow, but appreciate it as always, pal.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, buddy. There you go. That's Mike Clemens giving us a little bit to think about before we head off to bed tonight, as the Green Bay Packers just, now, like Aaron Rodgers said, it felt like Packers again. Maybe it's something that is a springboard moving forward. Maybe it's a one-time thing. Who knows? But, they're going to live to fight another day, but they're running out of days. Do you have hope? We'll wake up and talk about that again tomorrow on the program. One more time at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, before a crowd of 70,863 on hand to see it. It was the Buffalo Bills 27 and the Green Bay Packers 17. Thanks to all of you listening all throughout parts unknown, and those of you watching on the Bud Light live stream, I certainly appreciate it. Thanks for hanging in there with us tonight. As always, a lot of fun. Time for us to get out of here.